Well, hello. so, so I've decided to do a quick little stream answering some of your questions for my 30K sub celebration. I asked on Discord and on Twitter for some questions, so I thought, hey, I'll just answer them and maybe like chat with you guys. Hi, Eric. Yeah. So I think I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold. I have like a little bit of a husky voice, so I apologize in advance if I have to clear my throat or whatever. But so we'll just wait for a couple minutes and see if we can get some people watching, because I didn't do anything to whatever. I also dropped a link to a couple of other YouTubers, so I don't know if they'll have time. I know Shannon's a little busy. She's on Non-Sec tonight, Non-Sequitur show. Hey, Christopher. Hey, Lady Unicorn. Glad you can make it. Sound is good. Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Or I like you to hear. Thanks, Trevor. I'm glad that you like the content. I don't normally stream, but yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna answer these questions without having read them, or I mean, I've read a couple of them, to be honest, but not most of them. So yeah. I'm sure Shinaki would love an excuse to. Yeah, I think, isn't she talking to incels tonight or something? That's always wonderful. Hey, atheist activist. So yeah, so let's jump into some of these questions. So we have so Jack Fisher asked me on Twitter. I'm going to do the Twitter ones first, because as soon as I click on Twitter, it erases. It goes back to the normal thing. Anyways, you don't want to hear about my Twitter problems. Will the Lazy Eye Pink Dragon ever fully reveal the path to redemption and glory? No, Jack, it will not. Did you steal Christmas? I wish I could. Not a big fan of Christmas, not because of the Christian thing. Thanks, Nathan, for the congrats on 30K. But not because of the Christian connotations of it. I did the video on that already. But I just don't like the commercialization. I don't like the pressure. I don't like shopping. I don't like crowds. So like Christmas, besides the family aspect, is just brutal to me. I'm not a big fan. I like Halloween. Halloween's my favorite for sure. So what are the strongest and worst arguments for an Abrahamic God in your opinion? I don't know if there's any really strong ones. I mean, the classical theist ones are convoluted, so I guess maybe they might be the best ones I've heard. But there's not really any. The worst arguments, I would say, like anytime a Christian brings up like morality and then tries to link that to their religion, especially with their holy book just sitting there, is really bad. It's full of just really unethical garbage. Got a spaghetti. I love that you said spaghetti. Do you drink apologist tears with your morning breakfast as well? As good. Yeah, I do actually. Do I play video games? Yes, I do. I do play video games, Franklin. A lot. I just finished playing, actually. I was just playing Destiny 2, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I love it. And I was also playing this other game, Knights of Pen and Paper. It's kind of like you're part of a Dungeons and Dragons group, and then you're the player, and then the GM's telling you the story. It's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. I like it. Thanks, Peter. All right. So did you steal Christmas? Okay, so we'll go to the next one. So Alabar2 asked, humans of all walks of life seem to have certain experiences like unconditional love or self-transcendence, something akin to what could be described as spirituality. For those who depend on religion to understand these experiences, what do you propose be put in its place? Well, I guess you could, it would depend. I mean, I guess you could replace it with, maybe less harmful religions such as Buddhism. I'm not a big fan of the supernatural aspects of Buddhism like I am with anything else, but it is less harmful than, say, Islam or Christianity or Judaism. But I guess you could probably do it. Humanism to me is a good choice. Stoicism is pretty good. You can borrow some stuff from there. I guess you could also borrow from other religions, right? Like even Christianity to a certain extent, and just take out, all the really bad stuff. Although I'd prefer to just not do that, but I guess somebody could do that. So Jack Fisher also asked, you seem to be very passionate about helping other people. So I'm curious, what's the nicest, best thing anyone has said to you off the back of your videos? So I guess I get quite a few emails from people, and I think one of the best ones I saw was on Reddit, where they were talking about me and one of my Islam videos, and it wasn't a direct thing to me, obviously, but they were saying they were complaining because some of their family members had left Islam because they had watched my videos, and that made me feel really good. So that would be good. I've also had like really great emails that said, that my videos have helped them, have discussions with their family or break away from their faith. And I think that's great. So any of those are good. Thank you, Kobe Sibley, for the super chat. That's very kind of you. See, Trevor, speaking of, have you played D&D? Yes, I've played D&D. I actually used to DM D&D. I don't have time for it now with the YouTube thing, but I'd love to get back into it. But yeah, I love D&D. All right, so let's go to the next question here. Dren Hadamata. I'm sorry if I butcher the names. How do you think your influence has so far affected the world? I know that it has a positive and informative effect on me, and I really appreciate your channel. Well, Dren, if you watch this, thank you very much for your comment. I don't know. I guess I honestly, I don't really think about it too much. I mean, I just try to put out content that I believe in, and and like every other human, my views change. So I mean, there's some things I might have said a year ago that I wouldn't necessarily agree with today. I'm always evolving my views. So I don't know. I guess my videos are one way, but I think my job working with the deafblind is makes me feel good, and it also, I think, helps the people that I'm with. So I would say that's more important if you're just looking at it from a influence aspect. Anyways, so Kevin Breen. Is it possible that primitive man knew that his gods and heroes' tales were true, just their version of Marvel movies, but the shamans took advantage as a way to gain power and position? Yeah, I guess it's possible, but I think there's a wide range of people that have experiences that they deem as spiritual, especially before there was, modern medicine. So if you have stuff going on that, that you couldn't explain through medicine, and, you're surrounded by superstition, then that would be more likely, I think, that the shamans are taking advantage of. It could also be like, I've heard people say that they were taking mushrooms, or, I mean, they could be doing some kind of drug as well, right? And having those kinds of experiences. So no, you're never too late, Lila Knight. I just started. Let's see. Favorite horror movie? Oof, that's a hard one. I love horror movies. One of my favorites is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I don't know. There's something about that movie I really enjoy. It's kind of spooky, but at the same time, it's spooky, but it also doesn't rely on violence at all, really. I mean, there's like hardly any violence in the whole movie, so I think that's a pretty cool thing. What other horror movies? The Exorcist is always one of my things. When I was a kid, I remember my parents. It came on TV, and my parents never disagreed on anything. They always kind of stayed together as a team, and so I said, "Oh, I want to watch that. I want to watch that." And my mom was saying, "No, you can't watch that." My dad said, "No. You let him watch it." And I just remember that it still sticks in my mind because it was like the only time I ever heard my parents change their mind about anything, like go against one another. So I ended up watching it like the first little bit, and when it got to the part where she gets possessed and her head starts twirling around, I was like, okay, I got to go to bed. So yeah, I went. But then as an adult, I watched it again, and it's great. I've seen it a bunch of times, so that's one of my movies. Funny Games is another one that really creeps me out because it could happen, and it's it's just sadistic as fuck. All right, so has the belief in God been replaced by belief in pseudoscience, like anti-vaxxers and homeopathy believers? Why do people seek absolute truth, and why do they distrust scientific authorities today more than 30 years ago? Ooh, I don't know if they do more than 30 years ago. I mean, it just seems like it's more in our face because we have social media, right? So we can see the people that are talking about it, but I think it's probably always been that way. And then but now they can congregate, I guess, and kind of spread. So maybe it is worse. I don't know. All right, so let's go to my Discord, and the link is in the description box if you guys want to join my Discord. I don't go on there a whole lot. I should go on there a lot more, but time and all that kind of stuff. All right, so Fred Johnston asked, can science disprove Lego Star Wars, the complete saga? You know what? I've never watched any of the Lego movies, so I don't know. But I would love to watch those movies. I should probably watch them. I'm on holidays for a couple more days, so maybe I'll get into those. Thanks for the congrats, Beach, on the 30K. All right, so next one. Why did you start your channel? I find religion interesting. I know there's a whole bunch of reasons, but I guess I find religion interesting, but I also find it very harmful. And I think it kind of like seeps into everything, like politics, family life, economics, everything, right? It's wherever you look, there's religion. So I felt like you could, the channel could also branch out to those other areas if I wanted to. If I want to talk about anything, I can kind of link it to that. Also, a lot of the bigger channels, atheist channels that first started talking about atheism weren't really talking about atheism anymore. They were talking about, SJW stuff or whatever. So I thought there was a hole there that I could kind of fill. So I just kind of started doing it. I never thought that my channel would get, 500 subscribers, let alone 30,000. So I'm very thankful for all of you. What has been the best about it? I don't know. I really like learning about how to edit videos and how to do voice stuff and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy talking to other creators and you guys, of course, or you all. So all of it. I like all of it. So hey, thanks, Carl, for the congratulations. Don't let Matt Powell hear that. What has been the hardest? So the hardest part of YouTube. The hardest part of YouTube for me, well, the two hardest parts, I guess, I'm going to answer a double, is one is I hated doing my voice stuff. Like I hate hearing myself talk. So that part's really hard for me and my least favorite thing to do. But also I'm not very good at promoting myself. Like I don't do the social media game very well. I don't have time for it. I don't care. So so yeah, so I probably could do that a lot better. I just kind of make videos and just put them up, and sometimes I tweet them out, but that's about it. Eric Q&A, pets. Yeah, I have two pets. I have a Labrador Retriever named Dexter, and I also have a Chihuahua named Duke. The lab was mine before I met my fiance, and my fiance owned the Chihuahua. So we're a blended family, I guess. What would you advise somebody wanting to do something similar? I would just say, just go for it. Just do it. I mean, if it's something that you think you'll enjoy doing, I'm like that about anything, right? Like if you think that you can do something and you think you're going to draw enjoyment from it, then go for it. Try it. And if you hate it, just delete your channel, right? But if you love it, then it's something, that you can carry forward and have a lot of fun with. So how did you get so big being so bad at promoting yourself? I don't know, Lady Unicorn. I don't really think I'm that big. Like I guess I could possibly be bigger if I actually paid attention to that stuff. And I didn't release videos at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But I don't know. I'm not sure. like I said, I just put out content. I guess maybe I got a bunch of shout outs when I first started, which was really nice, from like Bionic Dance, which was very cool of her. And The Living Dinosaur was another one, and Desert File. So yeah, that I think, well, GE, we did a collab together. So yeah, it was, been pretty cool. What would you advise? Oh, sorry. Next question. What are changes you would want to make? I don't know. I don't know if I'd make any changes. I know it's a bad answer because I should always want to improve. Like, I would want to improve anything I'm not doing well, I guess. But what are the changes? I don't know what my changes I would really like to make about it would be. I'm pretty happy with my channel. I make the content I like to make. I say what I want to say. I don't have to do this full time, so that's kind of good because I can make videos that I know are going to be, controversial. I guess I can criticize people on, quote, my side, and not have to worry about it too much. I mean, it still sucks to see subscribers leave or whatever, but at the same time, I get to say what I want to say. So, and not have to worry about it financially as far as, I'm going to be out on the street if I can't pay my rent. All right. So Danny asks, what's your 2019 resolutions? I don't do the resolution thing. Not a fan. I just make goals for myself and like small goals throughout the thing. So like, when I first started my channel, my goal was to get 100 subscribers so that I could get a custom URL. And then I think it was 100 anyway. I think it's at 100 you get it, or it might be 1,000. I can't remember. And, but it was just steadily, just small goals so that I could reach them. And yeah. Let's see what's the chat saying. Do you think you'll ever run out of videos, Counter? No, I don't think so. I have so many in my wanted, and then a lot of times then they just get too old and I just like delete them. But I don't think I'll ever run out. Morton, when are you going to your damn knees for your fiance? You did say a while ago you were going to. go to your damn knees. What do you mean, like propose? I already did that, so she already said yes. But I guess like get married. We're hoping in September this year, but might be the next year. So I'm not sure. Favorite artist, whether it be modern or classic, Renaissance. I'm not big into art, to be honest. My biggest art things are like comic books or something. So I don't know. I don't look at like high art, I guess, like paintings and stuff like that. It's not my thing. Okay. Okay. So we'll go to the next one. It's 100. It's 100. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So it's 100. Face reveal. Yeah. Face reveal. I've thought about it. I might still do it at some point, but I've had a lot of people say they don't want me to do a face reveal because they have like an image in their mind of what I look like or whatever. And so it would ruin it for them. So they've actually like said, no, don't do it. So I've thought about it. And maybe I'll do it in the future. I don't know. If I did it, I'd probably just do it on Heathen Hour, to be honest. Because then I could just do the podcast with a face cam. But the videos, I would just keep the avatar on here. I don't know how many people would actually want the face reveal or not. Frustrated atheist. What do I do for work? I'm an intervener, so it's not the intervener that you see on TV where they get drug addicts and stuff like that. I'm an intervener that helps the deafblind. So I'm their eyes and ears. I help them plan their day, help them develop new skills, those kinds of things. So that's what I do. What's your ultimate goal? Like, do you want to do this full time or have your own serious radio program, write books? Ooh, that seems way out of reach for me. Maybe at some point I wouldn't mind doing this like part-time, but I'm really scared to do it because, like I said, I don't want to depend on it because then that limits what I can say or what I can do. I don't want to be scared of like saying what I want to say. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that holds me back. I could probably maybe do this part-time now if I wanted to, but um, if I wanted to scrimp on living, but I also really just like my job as well. So it's a double-edged sword. I'm not sure, but maybe one day I'll do this part-time and cut my hours back at work and do that part-time. So yeah. Prank the face, reveal the real mask. That's a good idea. Franklin Grant, how can I find your podcast? It has its own YouTube channel, so if you just type in Heathen Hour, it'll show up. It'll be the top one. It looks like a red H with like devil horns on it, kind of. Is the logo. And you can also find it on Spotify, on iTunes, and all those places, Stitcher, all the places that you'd listen to a podcast. Do you still play Destiny? Yes, I do. I just finished playing. Today I had a really good game where I got a 32 kill streak in PvP. So I was pretty pumped about that because I'm pretty average at PvP, although I play it a lot. So yeah. All right, so let's go back to Discord ones. What message do you have for people still trapped within toxic religions and suffering for their faith? That's a hard one because it's so hard. Like, I feel so badly that there's people that are scared to tell their family that they don't believe in a made up God, and that they could lose family members, or that's one of the biggest beefs I have with religion. I think I've said this in other videos where religion just kind of twists natural emotions like love into like hatred. Like it makes you do terrible things in the name because you love that person. So it could make like a parent, that's terrified that their kid's going to go to hell. It makes them, do terrible things to their kid to try to get their kid to do, follow their God so that they don't go to hell. Right. So, in a way, their heart's in the right place as far as like they don't want their kid to suffer, but religion just makes it so bad that it's just terrible. So I don't know what my message would be, apart from just hang in there, you're not alone. And there is a community of people out here that will help you, right, or at least make you feel so that you're not alone, right? And I think that's important. So, all right. So next question. I recently lost a friend over our different opinions on religion. This is from True SFL. What advice would you give to atheists out there who have friends or family who won't accept them for their lack of belief, especially the ones being forced into the closet with their views or the fear of losing loved ones? Also, hello, I'm watching live right now. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so true. The same thing as what I said previously, I guess. Yeah, losing friends is bad too. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It also would like deeply depend on the circumstances, right? Like that's the hardest thing. Like if you wanted to, even if I wanted to give advice, and I wouldn't want to give advice that would harm somebody. So, it's telling somebody like, yeah, you should go out and tell your family, right? And then they get kicked out of their house and have nowhere to go. That would be harmful, and I don't want to do that. So, I think each individual circumstance is different, right? So I think you just need to find people that you can talk to and empathize with, and maybe that are going through some of the same stuff that you did or have or are doing it right now, and just kind of do that, right? And I think the internet's allowed that to happen, right? So, all right. So Advanced Flea, congrats on 30K subscribers. Which would you prefer to have add? Length or girth? Now we're getting into serious questions. I guess I go with girth. Was there one thing that made you switch away from the religion you were raised as, or was it a multitude of things? Multitude of things, yeah. That would be the right answer. I'll take option B. Just mostly that it just didn't make sense once I, started to read stuff and learn about stuff. It just, none of it made any sense anymore. next question. What's the worst and best thing about being a YouTuber who has some recognition? The worst thing, I don't know. I know a lot of people get like upset about hate comments and stuff, and I mean they're not pleasant, but I mean a lot of times they're just kind of funny. So I wouldn't even count that as like the worst thing. I don't know what the worst thing is. I guess the worst thing is just like sometimes you're like not sure if the video is going to turn out well. You know what I mean? So it's like I care about the quality of the video. So if, for instance, like the last video I had the gender stuff in it. So I was really worried that I would get that wrong because I don't want to put out misinformation. And you know, I don't have a huge channel, but I mean, there's still, you know, a couple of thousand people that are going to watch the video. And sometimes it gets, you know, some of the videos get hundreds of thousands of views. And, you know, I don't want to put in information that's just going to be wrong, right? So it's just going to lead to harm. And I don't want that. So I try to be accurate in my videos. I'm sure that I've said things that aren't true or wrong, but I try not to. I try to cut that down to the barest minimum. So I guess that would be the worst thing, is if I found out that that I was putting out something that wasn't true. The best thing is I just have a lot of fun doing it. You guys are the best thing. Interacting with you guys, interacting with other YouTubers, and just having like conversations that I can't normally have with people that are like my family or friends or whatever. So, I mean, that's another thing. Did somebody join? Oh, hey, G.
Hey, Cranium, how you doing, man?
Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm just biting through these questions.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions on Discord and stuff, so I was just running through those and then reading the chat questions.
Okay.
But thanks.
Awesome. Well, yeah, congrats on 30K. You definitely deserve it.
Thanks, man. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I remember at one point though that I passed you, and now you've passed me. So I'm feeling a little bit bad about that. 2019, I'm gonna catch you.
Oh yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah. So this was a pretty good question that I had. So you could answer this one too. Like, so what's the worst and best thing about being a YouTuber who has some recognition?
Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
No, I already answered it, man. You go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The worst thing about being a YouTuber. What's the worst thing? The worst thing I would have to say is, you know, rolling with the algorithm and knowing not just that, but knowing what people want to see. Because sometimes it's easy to like figure out like what people want to see, and then other times it's like you have things that you want to do, and you know people aren't going to watch them, and it could possibly hurt like your momentum in the algorithm and whatnot, and you do it anyways. And so I find myself like trying to balance that, and finding that balance is kind of the worst part of it. But I would say the best part of it is just the constant like learning new things, and the constant drive to like do better, or produce better videos, or have better arguments, or present things in better ways. Like the constant availability of like doing better, or possibly doing better, I think is probably the best thing.
Yeah, those are good answers for sure. Mine was that the worst thing is like if I know that I'm putting out misinformation, so that's really important to me that I put out accurate stuff, because the thought of like me doing harm because I've said something that's just not true, all because I didn't do like 2 minutes of research or something, is just horrible. And the best is like, yours is really great. That's a good one. I also just like the community, and I like the people that I get to interact with, and like having the conversations, like about difficult subjects. I know, if I started talking about, politics or atheism to most people in my life, they'd be like bored, right? Like they don't want to listen to it. So this just gives me a chance to do that. All right. So Aliston asks, what are your thoughts on how a lot of the old atheist YouTube community turned to making anti-SJW and other political stuff like Armored Skeptic, Sargon, TJ, etc.? What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I know that a lot of the, I guess, old guard, kind of got fed up with, making the same kind of content, and so they started looking for other ways to express themselves, and they found it in the political scene. And where was the political scene, at least on YouTube? It wasn't talking about actual politics and stuff. It was talking about social justice things, because I mean that's kind of, social justice is kind of inherent to the atheist community, I would think. And I mean there's different ways that you can fight for social justice, and one of the ways is fighting the more radical versions of the social justice, like the Steve Shives kind of social justice and stuff. And so a lot of them latched onto that because they saw it infringing upon, like free speech and, this whole free thought movement that everybody was kind of going along with. And then all of a sudden you have people that are like, whoa. Let's take a step back from this whole free thought thing. I don't think you should be able to just freely think about things, or freely say things. So, I mean, that it was kind of easy for them to latch onto that. And I mean, there have been some that have, been like, well, I'm really tired of this now. And I just feel like it's a lot like, I don't mean to compare it to like addicts and whatnot, but it's a lot like chasing like that first high you get. And I mean, I don't know personally, obviously I don't know what that's like, but from what I've heard it being described, like in I guess professional circles, is like you'll never be able to match that first high you get off of it, like that first rush you get from like, oh, these people are wrong and I get to point it out, and it's like, oh, I never really thought about it like that, and you're right. And so it's like they're always chasing that high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really have, I don't know anything about Steve Shives besides his his like 5 things videos. I've seen a couple of those and I like them. So, but other than that, and that he blocks like everybody on Twitter because he has me blocked and I've never once interacted with him or whatever. So, other than that, though, I don't really know a lot about him. So I don't know, if he's as extreme as what some people say or whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So, you know how he used to say the 5 stupid things about whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, the ones I saw were about religion. So like, 5 stupid things about Christianity or 5 stupid things. Yeah.
Right.
Those kinds of things.
Well, at one point he was like, well, the stupid is kind of, I think he said it was like ableist or something. Like he was very against using the word stupid. And so he changed it from 5 stupid things to just 5 things about whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's like hypersensitive to like the social justice kind of like not just social justice, but like the radical kind of social justice. Like he's ashamed to be like a cis white male kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So we got a super chat that said, the way I see it, social justice is primarily portrayed from one of 2 perspectives, either mob rule or the civil rights movement.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Like the civil rights movement, like that kind of social justice, I'm all on board for. But like there's the mob rule, which actually has kind of 2 different sides to it, because you got the I guess the radical free speech side, if you will, and then there's the radical justice warrior side. So I mean, it's kind of odd how both of those sides kind of mirror each other.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I will say though is that a lot of the the last video that I did was basically Jacqueline Glenn milking that anti-SJW
Yeah.
outrage and putting out misinformation, which again I'm not a fan of. So
Right.
and I remember I watched that video, and I know a lot of people in my comment section were like, "Oh, she was just joking," and you were way too serious or whatever. I was joking too in a lot of the video, but my sarcastic joking sometimes comes out as being like me being
Right.
an a-hole, right?
Well, and a lot of people, I mean, it just goes whoosh, like right over their heads.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Like when she says, "Oh, go get a drink," and I'm like, "Well, this sounds serious." Like I'm not being serious.
You're right.
Right. But whatever. But that kind of stuff. So if it's like that, then yeah, I'm not a big fan of that content. I think it's harmful, and I don't think a lot of it's just misinformation. She didn't take a minute's time to research any of it. She just went along and went with whatever it said in that article. So I have watched that. I don't really watch. I know that like Armored Skeptic did some stuff on the C16 thing, which Logic burnt to the ground. And what Logic was saying in that video were the same things that I was thinking when I originally watched his video, because I am Canadian. And
Right.
the courts here, or the lawyers, were saying no, it's not going to be, you're not going to be used. It's not going to be used to put you in jail if you misgender somebody. That's just ridiculous. To get something like hate speech in Canada is very difficult. It doesn't just happen. Like I can't just misgender somebody on the street and a police car is going to pull up and drive me away.
Right.
You have to do something like put up a sign that says, kill all this group of people or something, kill all these Christians, kill all Christians or something like that. Right. Like something like horrible, like you'd have to do that. So, and Jordan Peterson just rode that wave. Right. And a lot of the, quote unquote skeptics just kind of went along with that as well. Right. Like they just took at face value what Peterson was saying without actually looking into it, right? Or listening to the lawyers, the experts in their field, who are saying, no, that's not what's going to happen here. So yeah. Anyways, so there's that question. Biting bison. Oh wait, sorry, I missed one. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, less serious. Do you know and enjoy the Warhammer 40K universe? No. I think I've read a book that had like the 40K Warhammer thing, and I've like seen the models and stuff, and I thought that's kind of cool. I'd love to do that, but it costs like a fortune. Not something I really want to do. And I just don't have the time for it. I barely have time to do YouTube, let alone. Well, if I took time away from like other things I like to do, I could do more YouTube. But yeah, so it's not a thing. Do you know anything about 40K Warhammer or whatever? It's like,
no, I've never played Warhammer 40K.
Oh,
And
it's kind
you'd have to be
like Risk, yeah.
Be long enough, right?
yeah. It's like Risk. It's kind of like Risk and chess mixed together. So each like pawn or whatever like model gets to do certain moves and stuff. Actually, I just went into a 40K shop the other day. That's how I know this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of interesting. My son actually likes playing chess. So the last time he was here, I played him a couple times at chess.
Oh yeah, you any good?
Well, I mean, he's almost 9, and I mean, I beat him.
Oh,
so I mean, not terrible, but the second game he almost beat me.
So Shao says, thanks for the super chat, by the way. Shao says, are you changing minds or supporting the atheists? Yeah, I don't. I've criticized atheists before, like I've criticized people I genuinely like, right? Like Rachel Oates, for instance. I try not to be a dick about it. But like usual in my videos, sometimes my sarcasm just comes out as me being dickish. So I can't, I can't help that. But yeah, I don't just support people because of they're atheists. I don't, that's cool if they are, but
yeah. And I'm the same way, because like I've made, I remember I made a response, or not a response, but like a little commentary video on Arn Raw a while back, because I felt like he said some wrong things, and Arn didn't really like that, but
yeah.
if if I see it, if somebody's wrong about something, I'll tell them, kind of, and I've done that on multiple occasions.
Yeah, usually though, if I make a video and it's about like, so say you said something that I didn't agree with, if it was just something I just didn't agree with, I probably wouldn't make a video about it. But if it's something I've heard from a lot of other people, like that's why I made the one about rituals, because I've heard that thing from other big atheist channels like Cosmic Skeptic and that talking about anti-theism and they get it wrong, right? Then that's the thing that I want to address, right? I just kind of use Rachel's video as a jump off point. It's not really just about Rachel, it's about the misinformation surrounding that subject, right? So
right, it's about the argument at large, not any one certain argument.
Right, exactly. It just happens to be Rachel's video was the most recent one that I watched that said it, and I thought it would offer the argument that I've heard a billion times before that, right? So lady, thanks for the super chat and the congratulations. All right, so let's go to the next question. What do you regard to be a religion? To be more detailed, does a religion need a god, or is it that only spirituality aspects like either a soul, reincarnation, or an afterlife are needed? Does a religion require rules, way of life to be religion, or could it potentially just be stories on spiritual things believed to be true? And then they say that this question originates because of a disagreement on whether Buddhism was a religion. I kind of waffle on this point. Like, I think when somebody says religion, I automatically think of like God beliefs or supernatural beliefs that are mixed in with other stuff. But I can see, like, I have no problem with somebody saying like humanism or Buddhism is a religion, because it offers an entire framework of how to kind of like live, or how to live life the best way that they think is possible. So it offers more than just like, like when somebody says atheism is a religion, that's ridiculous, because it's like one thing, right? It's not a framework. At best, it's like a ground layer on the floor of a house, right? So, yeah. So I don't know. I'm fine with like Buddhism, humanism, that kind of stuff being a religion, or being described as a religion. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I've not exactly had a great track record on placing a specific definition on religion, but I mean, I personally I find religion to be any kind of organized dogmatic set of beliefs. And I don't necessarily like I probably wouldn't be okay with somebody saying like humanism is a religion, because I mean, humanism is just kind of like a singular concept. Because, like, if you think about the ramifications of most religions that we think of, whether it's a theistic type of religion or not, they have, these like a multitude. Like, it's like a complex set of like philosophies that go into it, and so I feel like humanism is kind of like one philosophy that you don't really, it's not like a compound philosophy. Like, there's not multiple philosophies contained within it, whereas religion is more organized than that, know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think Buddhism has more to it than battening. Are you religious? No, I'm not battening. Yeah. Like, Buddhism has more to it than secular humanism. Secular humanism is more of like a moral framework. It doesn't really tell you all that much about like how to live life to the fullest or whatever, but you probably borrow from other things like Stoicism and all those other things, right? Like other kinds of philosophies that you can like borrow from. Thanks, Caitlin Chloe, by the way. My favorite collab I've done with you. We fucked Brass up. Congrats on 30K, pal. Yeah, we did. And he blocked me on Twitter after that, and and now he just talks behind my back. Like, I can see people responding, being like, what did you say about GC? Or why are you saying that? And I'm like, what did they say? What did they say?
Yeah.
It's so annoying, but yeah.
No, yeah. I love the fact that Brass will talk shit about people and then block them to where he can't hear like a response from the person he's talking shit about, because he just wants to stand on the sidelines and talk shit about people just all the time. I mean, he's kind of like the guy that stands behind like Dean Esme rooting on when Dean's overdoing his shit.
Yeah.
And
he's ridiculous, Brass. I thought that we had like kind of a good, I don't know, like a lot of the people on Twitter, sorry about my dog. a lot of the people on Twitter, like, a lot of people say like, well, they haven't like blocked you or whatever, because we're kind of like frenemies, right? Like I don't know, we just kind of like spar back and forth, like me and Andrew. I can't pronounce his last name, Strateles or something. We'll often just like poke at each other, right? But Brass, after that video that we made with Casey, was like, I'm out. So yeah, I still watch his videos though, sometimes. So
I have that effect on people.
yeah, your stats were amazing. So next question was Isaac Want, what is the best way we as individuals can combat religion respectfully and effectively? I don't know, man. I do it my way, which is through YouTube, and before that a blog, and just in regular conversation. If somebody, I don't go out of my way to like talk about religion, but if somebody's like shoving it in my face in regular, everyday parlance or whatever, in everyday speech, then yeah, then I'll go to bat. But I don't know. I guess that's my way. What's your way? I would assume that yours is probably the same, right, G?
Well, yeah. I mean, I generally like for most people out there that want to talk about religion. I mean, I'm not a dick immediately for the most part. I don't come out the gate, like that. But there are some occasions where people will throw out like specific arguments, and you can immediately tell that they're like, no amount of talking to this person is going to make them see reason, or there's just nothing to gain from it. Like there's a guy today that was like, if what was it, if you want to believe in God, or you got to seek him with all your heart, and you will believe in God. And I'm just sitting here like
nobody's ever tried that before, right?
Yeah, well, not only have people try it, like I mean, they always act like, oh, atheists just don't want to believe in God, or they act like we never tried to believe in God at all. We just wanted to not believe in God. And it's like those kind of arguments just really get on my nerves. And so like I came out very dickish to that guy almost immediately. But I mean that's because like that like presumes a whole lot of things about atheists, and like saying that like I didn't fully investigate what I believed before I announced that I was an atheist, or I decided I was an atheist, is really disingenuous.
Yeah. I think Twitter brings out the worst in people too, right? Like there's been a lot of times where I'll just answer something that's like, it just catches me like when I'm in a bad mood or something. And I think Twitter just brings out the like dickish side of most people. But like I would never answer like that if somebody was like talking to me on YouTube, like through here, right? Like if somebody left a comment right now and I read it, I wouldn't answer the same way I do on Twitter sometimes. But so Azrael Hypo, which religions are the least harmful, would you say? I don't know. There's that. What's that one that I think Sam Harris brought it up in his book, but it's like Jains, yeah, Jains. They don't like to harm anything. So I guess that, although that could be dangerous if you took it to extremes. So there's that. But I would say like probably like Buddhism, or like secular humanism, if you call that a religion. Yeah. So what would you agree with that, GE, or no?
Well, see, I'm very much of the persuasion that it depends on how you implement a religion as to whether or not it's harmful. Because like I think that religion in general is just malleable enough to where you can morph it into anything, and it's still
it's like YouTube TOS.
Yeah. But I think that it's malleable enough to where you can shape it into anything, and it's fine. I mean, we could argue about the how mentally healthy it is to believe in like supernatural best friends, but when it comes down to it, as far as like being harmful in general. I think that it really depends on how, I guess, maybe fundamentalist you are about your religion. Like, regardless of the religion that it is, I think that, like there are plenty of Christians out there that, don't want to force their own beliefs on other people, and don't want to force religion in schools, and don't want to force God on everybody all the time. And, they believe in God, they believe in Jesus and everything like that. But for the most part, they act like normal fucking people. And I don't find that to be particularly harmful, at least from like I guess a societal level. But again, it depends on how you like implement that in your life. So I would say that it really depends on the implementation.
Yeah, my biggest part is like the dogma, which I think is what you're talking about there, and
Yeah.
B, the supernatural parts, right? Like the parts that they just throw out there, because that's the stuff. And I think you're right. Like on an individual level, like say a Christian is just loving thy neighbor and not doing anything super crazy. I think like on an individual level, they're probably not doing a lot of harm, but on a societal level, enough of those kinds of people in the society start to do harm politically and socially and all that kind of stuff, right? Because
Right.
the thing with the monotheist religions is that their religions are saying their God is the only God, right? So that's a huge issue, because that means they can't agree with anybody else, really. I mean, some of them can twist it so that they can, right, like in their head, but
Mhm.
but it can always go back to what it says in the Bible, which is that's the only God, right? The only God that matters. So.
Right. Well, and I think that the malleableness of a religion is both a pro and a con, because the fact that it's so malleable means that, it can be warped to, control people and do harm in society. And I think for them, like that's why I still consider myself an anti-theist, because I mean, I think that religion is just that dangerous, that when it is shaped in a way that is harmful, it does a lot of harm. And anything that doesn't comport with reality is ultimately harmful. So,
Yeah,
that's where I stand. It's kind of, I guess, it's kind of walking a very fine line there.
yeah, like I've always like I've used the analogy in my videos about how like it's like wearing glasses that are like con- contort reality, right? Like they don't let you see clearly. So
Right.
that's kind of like religion to me. And even like I don't know, I've never really like been said like I'm a secular humanist. I would agree with if you put out secular humanist moral values or whatever, I would probably agree with almost all of them, or maybe even all of them. But I've never been one to like identify with groups. I just take the stuff that I want from those things and mishmash them into myself. So and sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it. Like I mentioned Stoicism. I never really listened to like what Stoicism was. I'd heard the term. That's about it. But then when I started actually reading like philosophy stuff, and I ran into like Stoicism, and I was like, hey, that's how I think, right? Like, so that's I don't know, that's kind of cool. But this question is like really weird. It says, if you could grow yourself a cloned or otherwise copied perfect match of your heart and install it like a piggyback transplant, meaning you could have two hearts and not even need to worry about rejection, would you do it? Why or why not?
What?
I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that. I guess if it meant that I could grow it, and then if I had a heart attack, that other heart would kick in and it would save my life, then yeah, I'm good. I'd do that.
Well, this oddly sounds a lot like The Island. Have you ever seen The Island?
I think I did, but I can't really. The name sounds familiar. Isn't that like a Leo DiCaprio movie, or
No,
no?
it's Ewan McGregor.
Oh, okay. The movie not.
Well, basically, the premise is that there's this colony of clones, right?
Mhm.
And they're managed by this corporation who sells like the whole idea of having a clone on hand, so that if you like have like a stroke, or maybe not a stroke, but like a heart attack, or you need a organ replacement or something like that, you have a clone on hand that can that can you can harvest organs from, and you can replace your own organs with your own organ.
Oh, well, that sounds good. I'll have to look up that movie. Now I have to watch that, and there was another movie that I said I wanted to watch, and I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Lego movies. I haven't watched any of those. That's before you came. Okay. So Sinbad asks, "What's your take on abortion?" Well, I made a video with Professor Stick, I think, like when I first started my channel, before he like blew past me in subs. And we were pro. I'm like, I don't know. I have a hard time like saying like pro-abortion. I'm not pro-abortion so much as I'm just pro-choice. Like I think that people should have the choice to do it. But I don't think anybody, like, well, most people, 99% of people probably aren't, like, even the people that are getting abortions aren't like pro-abortion. They're not like, yay, let's go for abortion. Right? It's a hard decision for them, right? But I'm definitely on the side of it should be legal and people should have that recourse if they want to. So what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pro-choice as well, and I don't think anybody should be pro-abortion, because I mean, that's kind of that should really be kind of like a last resort kind of situation, at least in my opinion. But people should still have the option to get it.
Yeah.
And I just I don't understand the people that are sitting there wanting to control other people's decisions like that. Like, I mean, that's a very deeply personal decision to make. Mm-hmm. And while I would never want like my significant other, like Casey, to opt, for an abortion, that doesn't mean that I think that other people shouldn't have, that the right to an abortion. Like, that's just, I don't know, that it always seems very self-centered to me.
Yeah. So True King of Shitposting asked, what's your favorite superhero? Mine is definitely the Hulk. Tomorrow I'm going to go see Aquaman, actually. So that's I don't even like Aquaman in the comic books, but I'm gonna go watch that movie.
Oh, this one's pretty good. I mean, it's like it's on par with like the Wonder Woman movie as far as like quality goes.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't like Ant-Man either, but I found his movie like pretty funny. I like Paul Rudd though, so
yeah. Paul Rudd is the one that really makes the Ant-Man movies like good.
yeah, like without him, yeah, because it's a pretty lame concept, I think. like his powers are just kind of like, eh.
What's your superpower?
Yeah.
Like,
although my least favorite Avenger though is so this week, like I've been on holidays this week, and we're waiting for the new Avengers to come out, which is pretty dorky. And my fiance hasn't seen all the movies, so a lot of times when we're watching like one of the Avengers movies or like one of the Marvel movies, she's like, I don't know what's going on, because she's missed all the stuff before. So we went through in chronological order and watched all the movies.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I think the only ones we skipped was the Ant-Man, because she'd seen that, and the Guardians because she'd seen that with me. So we watched the movies, and that, if you notice, I never noticed this before, but the Arrow guy, not Hawkeye, he never really wins a fight. Like, he gets his ass kicked like in every single fight. Like, you're like, oh my god, he just lost again. Oh my god, he just lost again. He gets his ass kicked by Widow. He gets his ass kicked by Vision.
Yeah,
over and over and over. I'm like, they don't even need that guy. Just take him right out of the movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, they eventually did.
Did they? Oh well.
He wasn't in Infinity War. That's not really spoiling anything.
No, because he retired, right? But then I think he comes back in the last movie. I've heard rumors that he's coming back or whatever.
Well, in Endgame, the one that's coming out this summer, he's going to be back.
Yeah. So that's the one. Yeah. So I don't know. He's horrible. So Diversity Productions, would you do anti-vax debunk? Yes, I would definitely do anti-vax debunk. The only thing that really kind of stops me from doing that is because I'm not a doctor. So like Shannon does that thing about like counseling and stuff because she's got a background in that and I don't. So
see, but you see, what you got to do is you got to mix anti-vax with Illuminati conspiracy. That's what you're gonna do. Because I've got a video on my channel right now where I responded to a guy who was like, "Man, vaccines are just Illuminati conspiracies." And it's like the entire time he's talking about how vaccines are just Illuminati conspiracies. And so it's like I don't really have to have any kind of technical knowledge for that. It's just like, what the fuck are you even saying right now?
Yeah. I've definitely given it some thought because I've seen a bunch of articles where like in certain areas of the world, the anti-vaxxers are starting to win and people are like getting sick from stuff that we thought we wiped out, like measles and stuff. And that's dangerous, right? And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty shitty. So then it becomes a little bit more important, but I haven't done one yet. I've like criticized them on Twitter, but so Shaman, what are your plans for the future? So I'm guessing he means my channel. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. Yeah.
You gotta keep up that grind. Yeah, I mean, you gotta grind away at YouTube. Because I think on my channel right now, I have over 1,200 videos.
Yeah.
So like you just gotta grind it out and keep up the consistency. And that's the simplest way to explain how to succeed on YouTube is to make content that people want to watch and consistently grind your way to your goals.
Yeah, I agree, and I fail at that. But when I first started and I grew super fast, I was doing like a video a day, right? So yeah, that's definitely the way to go if that's what you want to do. And then I was like, this is killing me, and I'm going to start to burn out, and then that's not good for my job, and I have to support people, and so this isn't good. This isn't good for my mental health. So I slowed down. But yeah, definitely if this is like if you really want to grow your channel, you got to put out content like constantly. And we see that too with like Jimmy, Mr. Atheist or whatever, has exploded because he puts out like content like every single day, sometimes more than once a day. So I'm also not good at doing live streams. Like I don't like doing live streams, so it takes me a lot more time to make a video than if I could just sit in front of a camera and talk. You know what I mean? Like. And good on you're one of those people actually. Good on you for being able to do that. It's not something it's not something I want to do, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I did not start out that way either. It just comes with practice, and having like a kind of a structure to the show actually helps me generate content for like the YouTube channel, because for a long time I was doing my live streams on Facebook and then I'd cut them up later and put them on YouTube. So basically I would have 2 live streams a week, and in both of those live streams I would generate at least 2 videos out of each live stream. So I would produce at least 4 videos a week that I could put on the YouTube channel.
And you have a game channel too.
Oh yeah, and I have a game channel that I'm trying to build up now. Trying to be consistent, but I don't know how that's going to work out.
Hey, Lady Unicorn. I just noticed that.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, good.
Had to finish, like I've mentioned a couple times in the chat, stabbing a cat.
Stabbing a cat? What was your cat doing?
No, she's diabetic and has kidney problems.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna get through these there's last couple questions. So do I watch anime? No, I don't watch anime. I do have people that I play Destiny 2 with that watch anime all the time, and they've like told me to go watch these anime things. I'm like, yeah, I will, but I just never get around to doing it. So I probably would like it. I suppose I like cartoons. So the Crystal asks, what's your favorite creator outside the skeptic community? I don't know. I don't know. I watch a lot of like, I don't know. My fiance says I watch people play games, which I do. So like I'll watch Destiny 2 videos. I'll watch people like tricks and tips and stuff like that. So it's kind of pretty boring. I also watch like CinemaSins and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I think they're kind of funny, like how they point out things in movies that you might have missed that don't make any sense. So, I just watched the one on the Avengers actually, CinemaSins, and they said the one part that I hated, and I hope they explain it in the next one, was like, because the Hulk's my favorite, and then he goes up against Thanos, and that's fine if he loses, but the way he lost, where like in other movies he's like going through buildings and getting like thrown, and then Thanos just throws him, like does like a body slam, it does a little dent in the ground, and that's the end. Like, and I'm like, fuck off, right? But I have heard one thing where like a fan thing where they said that what they think is that the Hulk actually wasn't the Hulk, it was Loki looking like the Hulk, and that would explain how he gets beat up so easily. But there you go. Why do you people get into Woo, and what's your favorite collab? My favorite collab, I really like the one with KC. I think we really laid it to thing. I don't know. I like I think I like pretty much all of my collabs. I don't think there's one that I've been like, oh, it sucks. There's been some, and I've been this way too. So this isn't a criticism of them really, where like it seems like pulling teeth because they're busy and they forget or whatever, and then you're like, oh, come on, I just want to get this out, kind of thing. But I've been that guy too, right? Where if somebody said, hey, can you do this? And I'll be like, yeah, I can whip that out. And then, a week later, hey, have you done it? Oh shit, I forgot to do it. I'll do it when I get off work, and then I forget, right? So it's just, I get it. It's like that. But that's probably like the least favorite thing about. I'm not very good at collabing because of that reason, which is why I probably don't do a whole lot of them. But how many theists do you find in your comment section, and how many of them are hostile? Quite a few of them are hostile, but especially there's a guy named Sam McPhail, and he'll like, and that's kind of funny that his name is Fail, but he will leave like multiple comments, like 10 comments in a row on one video, and it's just like the most unhinged things I've ever read, right? But they're so funny. So all my Islam videos, I get a lot of hate, but that's okay. But there is a lot of theists too that watch my videos that I know like them, right? Like they've said, yeah, you know what, I'm not an atheist, but I really like your video, so I appreciate those people too. How many atheists are hostile? It depends on the video, right? If I'm criticizing somebody that's also an atheist, so like say I did a video on GE, I'm sure I'm going to catch some hate from GE fans, right? So it's I did one on Suit Yourself. I remember like way back, and I got a lot of hate from his fans. I did one on Jacqueline Glenn, and I got a lot of hate from people who like Jacqueline Glenn. So that's fine. That's the name of the game, I guess, right?
Yeah. If you want to get some real hate, though, you need to touch on Flat Earth stuff. You get some primo hate from the Flat Earth crowd.
I cannot do flat. I've thought about it. I did the one Flat Earth, but it was because it was hooked to the Bible, which I found was funny. But I've resisted the urge. I just can't do it. It's too absurd, even for me. I'm just like, I'm just gonna leave this to GE and Stick. They got this. They got this Flat Earth thing. So, and so the last question is, my question would be, what kind of video games do you play, and why do you play them? I play a lot of RPGs. That's my favorite games. But I also play, like I said, Destiny 2 a lot. So Destiny 2 is probably my go-to game. But I also play like a ton of like RPGs. So yeah. So that's the end of the questions. Perfect.
I don't know. I'm really getting into Darksiders right now. You ever played Darksiders?
I've not played Darksiders. I've watched it, and like I've seen it, and I've wanted to do it. So like I've wanted to play it, but I haven't actually bought it yet. There's so many games.
Yeah. I'm starting to play through Darksiders. I'm starting with the first one, and so far it's really interesting. I really like it.
Oh, hey, Bailey Bong. How are you? I'm doing good. And oh, man, Bailey Bong's having some real issues with his channel as well. They just keep flagging him for just the weirdest reasons.
That's no good.
No. Thrust, what if I were to combine GC's voice with GE's alcoholism within myself?
I do not have alcoholism, okay? Look, I know a drink on stream like one beer. At worst, it's like 2 beers, and it's like Bud Light, so it's like near water, and so I don't even want to hear about alcoholism.
So Lady Unicorn, you had some like misgivings about what we were talking about, the SJW
Oh,
thing.
well.
Did you have something to say about that? You wanna
I
go
think
off
you
on that?
actually handled that fairly well, to be honest.
Oh.
Oh, but yeah,
I thought I was gonna
I
get
just-
an earful of Lady U.
no. I do deal with a lot of people who just, as I've mentioned elsewhere, I ended up away from the whole community because everybody was going after SJWs and going after SJW issues, but when they would actually go after whatever, they basically wound up, what it felt like to me and to probably quite a few other people, like they were just misrepresenting the actual issues that were attempted to be discussed, but done poorly.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also some like drama right now going on within our quote community.
Isn't there always, though? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really make a community around nothing but atheism. What?
Yeah. Well, there's like Essence of Thought put out a video
Oh, I
saying,
saw Bionic Dance's reply so far.
yeah. So just for
wait.
the people watching, so like Essence of Thought said that atheism is inherently political, and then Bionic Dance said no, that's not always the case.
Except he didn't say that
Oh, okay.
atheism was. What Essence of Thought said was that secularism is inherently
Okay.
political.
All right,
And
my
was
bad.
complaining about the whole being told politics shouldn't be in the atheist community.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. My bad. Secularism, and then Bionic Dance said not necessarily, and then I think Godless Iwan just put out a video I watched just before I started this stream.
I didn't catch that one yet.
Yeah. So, and I think the worry, I think part of the worry might be from like Bionic Dance was about like the Atheism Plus thing coming back to like haunt the new atheist community, I guess.
Sure, but then there's a difference between trying to say, hey, we need to make a community that's atheism plus whatever specific political thing, and saying, hey, this is going to be political in some degree. You've got to expect people to talk about politics.
Well, I think it happens anyways, just naturally, because like if somebody sat down and watched all 200 of my videos, right, they would probably come away with a pretty good idea of where I stand politically on a lot of issues, right? Because like I said before, religion like touches almost everything. So if they're like talking about, I don't know, like say same-sex marriage, then obviously it's going to come up that I'm pro same-sex marriage, right?
Yeah.
So that's political, right? But I think Bionic Dance had a pretty good point, is that it's not necessarily about that, right? Like sometimes it is about just supporting other people that are stuck in religious households and stuff, right? That they don't care about like SJWs or right-wing conservatives or alt-righters or whatever, right? All they care about is that like, hey, I'm in a tough spot here and I want to talk to other people that are going through the same stuff that I am or I have gone through. And so I think that's like a valuable resource as well, right? That would get cut out if you're just about politics, right? Am I making sense there?
Oh, that makes perfect sense to me, and I do think that that's a valuable part of the community, but like this idea that if you touch on atheism, if you're promoting atheism specifically with your stuff, you shouldn't get into politics doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't want the reverse said, that because I'm dealing more with political issues, I shouldn't touch religion.
Well, so what I have to say on this is that I do believe that there are some political topics that are inherent to the secular, like to secularism or atheism in general. But I mean, they're very specific, and it's only like if you were to think of like Venn diagrams and where they cross, and intersect. So like the separation of church and state is one of those things, and it's not that every atheist has to care about it, because obviously they don't, but like atheism or secularism on the whole would be concerned about those issues. But like when you start getting into the other social justice areas, it's not necessarily like atheism, because you can be atheist, you can be Christian, you can be any kind of religious affiliation and still support those causes or those fights or whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. I just think we need to be careful about discouraging people from touching the other fights just because they're part of a shared community that will have different opinions. But then
Well,
again,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even like this concept that seems to be in a lot of people's minds that if somebody's responding to or having an open public disagreement, that automatically means that they're like against the person, they hate the person that, or at least don't like them. That's an attack, and I don't even want to. I don't even like that being part of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with all that. I think I think people should just be able to talk about what they want to talk about, right? Like if tomorrow I just wanted to stop talking about atheism and I just wanted to talk about, politics, I guess, or something, or like movies, then that's what I should be able to do, right? Like there should be no
Yeah, and
thing
while
that
case,
says no, you
yeah,
can't talk about that. It's ridiculous.
right. And while there might be a good case to be made for like maybe you shouldn't change your channel over to that because you might
Mhm.
lose fans, or you might not want to have both at once because again, different fan bases or whatever. Those make sense, but it's just like keep that kind of criticism to where it belongs. I don't like seeing the going
Personally,
further.
I'd probably if I just wanted to go full politics, and I actually have thought about it, but at the same time, it seems like it's so depressing, right? That I mean, talking about religion is depressing, but sometimes, but I mean, talking about politics is just so bitter, right? And also, I'm not American, so there's some stuff about American politics I don't get because I'm not there, right?
Yeah, kind of like I didn't feel comfortable completely answering a certain question about Canadian
Right.
law.
Yeah, but I would probably just start another channel, right? Like I would just start like
Yeah,
I
that
don't
would
know,
make complete sense.
Cranium politics or something. I don't know. But
Like
or
you're gonna
like
go back
gaming,
to
like
that.
like I've thought about like starting a D&D channel, right? Like just playing like tabletop D&D on it, right? Like whatever. So I don't know, like dorky stuff like that. But I wouldn't do it on my main channel.
Wait, wouldn't you have to be on camera in order to play D&D on a channel?
Not necessarily, no, because you could just do roll 20. You don't have to show your face on there.
I have
But
a mask you can borrow.
I can wear a mask, yeah. But
We will forge you a mask, okay?
yeah, but like I said, before, so it's like before you came on, somebody was asking about like a face reveal, and I said I've thought about it, like I've thought about doing it, but there's a couple of reasons why I don't. But I mean, I've also had people say like when I kind of floated the idea on like Discord and stuff, they were like, "No, don't do that, man," because I like the way it is now. Like I have a mental image of you. That's what I want to keep. So I can see it kind of both ways, right? But if I was to do it, I said I would probably just do it on Heathen Hour, right? Because that's the logical place that I would use a face cam, right? Is in a podcast, not in my regular videos. If that makes sense. You're gonna get memed, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to show up on the meme generators. Like all the people that I pull up on Twitter and leave. One of them, I'll go through and one of them will be me. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so there's like a little bit of drama. I don't know. That's another thing too, is that I think is that we have to like remember that like sometimes like I think we do a poor job at this, is like if you disagree with somebody, all of a sudden you're against that person, where it's not, instead of like coming to the discussion because you're curious about their position and you want to like talk it out, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of times it just turns into like, I make a video about you and then you're like, oh man, the guy just came after me and he's trying to bring my channel down. And that's not what's happening, right? So
yeah, no, I hate that.
Honestly, I love it when people make a response video to me. Like I get giddy. Like I'll see it's like, oh, this guy made a response video to me. Can't wait to see what he says.
Yeah.
And then I watch and I laugh. Like even if they make a joke at my expense, like I'm just sitting there laughing about it. Like I don't know. It's not that I don't take them seriously, but at the same time, like I don't know, I don't let it get me like really mad.
Well, and even if you're taking what they're saying seriously, you can also not take yourself so seriously or be so hung on to your arguments or your position that it just is impossible to hear something.
I think we're a lot alike there, because I'll go searching for like response videos and I'll just sit there and watch them, and I love it. It's fun to me.
As far as I know, I basically have none so far.
No,
Other than one person who later threw a fit, who made a response to me suggesting people should put captions on videos.
the chat's cracking me up. So it says, Volvic Thrust, Godless Cranium tucks me in every night. He doesn't know it, but now he does. And then in response, M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, GC is trans race. What are you talking about it? Are you human, Godless Cranium?
I don't actually see some of those chats.
Yeah, I'm definitely human.
Are you sure, though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, if you got to hang out with me all day, you would notice that I'm quite human, doing a lot of really dumb things all day long, which my fiance loves to point out.
Yeah, those tweets are great, by the way. When
I know.
Point out what she says. That's funny.
Yeah, they're hilarious. She's hilarious. But yeah, we like to like spar back and forth. I like today's though. The do you feel, what was it? Do you feel book shamed?
Yeah.
Because well, for the people in the chat that don't know what I'm talking about, so we went to like the mall and we had like dinner, and then she wanted to walk through the mall and I didn't want to, but she knows I like books, so she was like, hey, let's go to the bookstore. So I was like, fine. I already have responded to Girl Defined, by the way, Lisa. And so we went to before the rest of these atheist channels did, by the way. I was the first one. I'm just saying. But anyway, so we went to the bookstore. We're looking, and then I like fantasy books, and all the fantasy books were in a section called Teen, because it's just a small bookstore, so they probably didn't have space to have its own thing. And and I said, oh, look, all the fantasy books are in the teen section. It feels like the bookstore's calling me childish. And my fiance is like, well, yeah, I wouldn't say they're wrong, but do you feel book shamed? So, yeah. So it's like a lot of like weird we have like the weirdest conversations where they just go all over the place, which is fun and funny. But now she knows I put them on Twitter. For a while she didn't. And so she'll like be like, you're gonna put that on Twitter, aren't you? You're gonna put that on Twitter. And I'm like, yep, it's going on Twitter. So, yeah. And then she also has like an account, but it's private, so nobody else can see it. And I think she follows like 3 people, because she'll just go into her like mentions or whatever, and it's just my tweets, right? Do you like the Dune series? Yeah, I do actually. It's a long time ago I watched it, but yeah, definitely. It's like 80 movies, right? 80s movies. I like the giant worms that would come out. I bet you if I watched it now, it'd be like super weird. I didn't really get Dune. I don't think you're supposed to get Dune. It's a weird movie. Oh, the dude with I remember too, the guy that had like the pustules, and then they would like jab the needle in to like drain them. Ugh.
Okay, yeah. See, I've never seen Dune, but now I don't know if I want to.
Oh, you definitely want to, but
that basically sounds like how I feel with a lot of conversations. People be talking about something like, I've never seen, played, whatever, that particular thing. And then it's like, and now I'm not going to.
Dune is lame. Huge waste of time. It's pretty good. I don't know.
I mean, isn't everything a waste of time, though?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, right? Like, one person's, it's kind of like junk, right? Like, one person's trash is another person's treasure. One person's waste of time. Like, my fiance thinks video games are a waste of time, and I think they're a great use of time, because I'm happy while I'm playing them. So, although you could take anything too far, right? You could just play video games too much, which I probably do, and then you end up with a problem.
But then again, how many people monetize that now?
That's true, yeah. Well, and like I've said before, when I first started the channel, she thought it was a waste of time. She's like, why are you wasting your time doing this?
Yeah.
So there you go. And here we are. 2 2019.
2019 with you having 30,000 subs.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So I think that's good. I think I answered all the questions that I had. Thank you for joining me, GE and Lady Unicorn. Unless you have something else you want to talk about.
No, I mean I'm just glad to celebrate your 30K with you. I think that you need a lot more subscribers because I mean you put out really great content.
Yeah,
so
you do. You did
yeah.
even when it wasn't just religion.
Well, I try to do make decent content anyway, but yeah, I think actually the I was thinking about this earlier actually, and I wonder if like the non-face cam is part of it, right? Because a lot of people that have like face cams seem to get more subs, right? So there might be like a, I don't know, maybe because you can connect with them better, you know, like facial expressions and stuff. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably a little bit of it. That having a face on there and whatnot allows people to connect with you more.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there are plenty of like animation channels where people never appear on video and they're successful. And I mean, there's plenty of atheist or skeptic or whatever channels that only have art and never appear on videos, and they're pretty successful. So
that's true. And there's a lot
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that like you're not connecting with people or anything like that. I just think that like it's that whole hit or miss kind of walking that fine line of what people want and working with the algorithm, and you just got to find something that really pops. And it may not necessarily be something that you're interested in, but my philosophy here on YouTube has always just been that I do what's fun for me and I put things together that's fun for me. And if I'm not happy about a video or something like that by the time that I get done editing it, then I just do something else. Like I don't put out a video that I'm not at least somewhat happy with.
Yeah.
And I think that the feeling good about the process of it and having fun doing the process is really my focus. And that's why I'm never really going to get burned out or anything like that. That's why I can do like 5 videos a week or more and not get burned out, because it's still fun to me. And I mean, I don't know.
Do you do this full time or no? No. So do you have a full-time job? Or stop me if it's too personal.
No.
Do you have a part-time?
I'm a software engineer. I've got 2 engineering degrees, and I work professionally as a software engineer. And I'd also do this. It usually only takes me like maybe an hour or 2 a night to like get a video together and put out. But that's because like I have a lot of videos like in my backlog of things to edit, so I can just edit whenever I can. But I work 40 hours a week and I do this part-time, and I would honestly need to make about 4 or 5 times what I make right now off of YouTube, like ad rev and everything, in order for me to like surpass what I make at my job. But even then, like I definitely will never go full-time on YouTube because of how volatile the environment is. Like as far as like losing your monetization or losing your channel in general. I mean, having that pulled out from underneath you. If I had quit my job and done this full time, then where would I be if I lost my channel? I mean, I would be up shit creek without a paddle. So that's why I just don't feel secure enough in that in order to like quit a job or anything.
Yeah, I agree with all that. If I was like, I don't know, like if I was like retired, just say, and this was just like on the side, then I could, do that. But like I said earlier, if I was to do this like part-time and like cut back on my hours at work, that would be cool. But at the same time, I could just go back to my job, right? Like if this, say YouTube just yanked my channel down, I could just go to my job and say, hey, I need more hours, and they would give me more hours. So
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I think part of it too is, like I said earlier, it's just like I don't put out enough content to like I gain subs all the time. Like every day I gain subs, but to gain like huge amounts of subs per day. Like there was one point where I was gaining like 400 or 500 subs a day.
Yeah, and
which is
even
ridiculous.
I gain subs, and I don't put anything out hardly.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that you gotta like do like when I was doing it daily, right? That's the key, right? But
Yeah,
I can't do that.
I've heard
Yeah.
repeatedly that people can get more subs, or even that I think Cyrus was the one that said that's the only reason he could even use YouTube to pay his bills through the ad revenue is because he's putting out videos on a daily basis.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
I'm lucky if I can put out videos on a weekly basis when I have them planned in advance because of my situation here.
I don't know how he does it because I always get demonetized. So I don't know. I don't know, but
Maybe he has a lot of red subscribers.
yeah. Well, it all depends on too and how like what's your standard of living, right? Like what's your some people can get by on less, right? Like they have less rent or less car payments, all that kind of stuff, right? If I went down to like $300 a month or something, my fiance would like tear.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Cersei's position, like as far as all that goes, but I do know that like he's living within his means, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important
Like
thing.
I've talked to him before about it, and I mean he hasn't exactly divulged a lot about it, but I do know that what he makes on YouTube is enough to cover his portion of any bills that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not like anything amazing, but my point was that like the only way he could even get that much was from YouTube itself, was to be making videos daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the key there, but I can't do it.
I don't know how anybody can, especially while they're trying to have another full-time job, or how somebody was. I was reading something on Twitter, and somebody was complaining about Patreon, people posting their Patreons and saying how they'll only actually be a patron for people who, on top of making their YouTube content, make additional content that's exclusive to patrons. And they're talking like full hour-plus shows. It's like, so you'll only pay somebody who's doing 2 full-time jobs online.
Yeah. Well, and look at also like talking about like YouTube taking your channel down. Look at the whole Patreon thing. Like Logic lost I saw it on Twitter. I don't know exactly how much, but it was like a couple of $100, like close to $300 or something.
With the whole Sargon thing, there's been a lot of people who just quit supporting anybody on Patreon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So.
I lost a couple subs or a couple of patrons.
Yeah,
but
the internet is definitely volatile if you're trying to make a job out of it. I keep trying to get people to actually have sense enough to, spread out how they're trying to make their source of whatever, whether it's subs or just...
Yeah, but it's hard to get people to migrate over to a different platform, like if they've already...
Oh, yeah, no, people won't tend to do that. I mean, like, I've been trying to convince people to actually have more than just one way for whatever, so that you might have still something when something goes wrong on one of them.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me, like, if I have an alternative way, but I don't know, I don't yet. I'll have to look at more options, but
like you said, you're not making this even a part-time job for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good because it helps me buy stuff for the channel, or like if something breaks, like my mic or something, I can go get another mic. All that stuff is good, or like hold art contests and stuff like that. So that stuff's all good, but yeah, it's not like Logic his rent is riding on it, right? So I could stop doing YouTube today and still just live my normal life, right? So there's that. But anyways, thanks a lot for joining me on my 30K. I thought I was gonna have to do it alone, so I'm glad that you came. And say hi to Casey for me there, GE.
Yeah.
Hi, PC.
Good night, guys.
Good night.